Have you ever wondered why some people walk into a room, open their mouths, and instantly own the space, while others struggle just to be noticed? Have you ever spoken up in a conversation only to feel like your words disappear into thin air? You're not alone. Most people don't realize this, but your voice isn't just sound, it's power. It's either working for you or against you. Right now, your voice is shaping the way the world sees you. It's determining whether people respect you, listen to you, and take you seriously. If your voice lacks confidence, people won't ignore you because they're rude. They'll ignore you because you've given them permission to. You haven't claimed your space. You haven't learned how to make your words carry weight. But here's the truth. Your voice can become your greatest asset. It can command attention, influence decisions, and open doors you never thought possible. The problem isn't what you say, it's how you say it. And today, that changes. You're going to learn how to speak so that people stop and listen. You're going to understand why the most respected leaders in history weren't just intelligent, they knew how to use their voice as a weapon. They mastered presence, tone, and delivery, and so can you. If you've ever felt invisible, if you've ever been talked over, if you've ever struggled to be heard, this is your turning point. Because from this moment on, you're not just going to talk. You're going to own every word. People don't ignore you because they're rude. They ignore you because you haven't given them a reason to listen. The truth stings, but it's the first step toward change. Think about the last time you spoke and no one really paid attention. Did you hesitate? Did your voice lack certainty? Did you sound like you were asking for permission instead of owning your words? Your presence, your tone, and your energy set the stage before you even say a word. When you speak without confidence, people pick up on it instantly. They don't do it consciously, but their brain is wired to respond to authority and conviction. If your voice wavers, if your words feel small, they tune out. But here's the good news. This isn't permanent. The way you speak is a skill, and like any skill, it can be sharpened. Once you understand how to control your voice, how to command attention, and how to speak with authority, everything changes. The world will no longer overlook you because you'll refuse to be ignored. Words alone don't create influence. How you say them does. Look at any great leader, any powerful speaker, any person who seems to have the world hanging on their every word. They aren't just throwing sentences into the air. They're controlling the energy in the room. They use their voice deliberately. Think about it. Have you ever heard someone speak in a monotone voice, droning on, making even the most exciting topics sound dull? And then, have you ever heard someone who speaks with confidence, pauses at just the right moments, and makes even simple words sound important? That's not an accident. That's power. People respond to authority, certainty, and control. If your voice is weak, people assume your message is weak. If your voice is strong, people assume your message is strong, even before they understand what you're saying. That's how human psychology works. This isn't about being louder or aggressive, it's about being intentional. Once you learn how to control your tone, your pace, and your delivery, you don't just speak, you influence, you lead. You get respect before you even ask for it. Your voice is a tool, a weapon that can open doors, earn trust, and establish authority. But here's what most people don't realize. If you don't control your voice, it will control you. Most people let their voice betray them. They hesitate, they mumble, they speak too fast or too slow. They let their nerves show. And the moment that happens, they lose the room. But the great speakers, the people who are remembered, they don't just speak, they command. They speak with intention. They know exactly how to use their voice to create impact. Think about some of the most powerful figures in history. Were they the loudest in the room? No. But when they spoke, you listened because their words carried weight. That's the difference between being forgettable and being unforgettable. Today you take control. You learn how to shape your voice into something that leaves a lasting impact. You stop speaking like someone who's hoping to be heard and start speaking like someone who demands to be heard. Because the moment you master your voice, the world stops ignoring you. This isn't just another motivational speech. This is a blueprint, a step-by-step breakdown of how to use your voice as a weapon so that every time you speak, people listen. Here's what you're going to learn. How to control your tone so your words sound powerful, not uncertain. The secret to owning the room before you even say a word. Why the most respected speakers use silence as a weapon. The exact formula for making people hang on to your every word without trying too hard. This isn't about faking confidence. It's about developing real, unshakable presence. If you've ever struggled to be taken seriously, if you've ever felt like your words don't carry enough weight, if you've ever wanted to speak with the kind of presence that makes people stop and listen, then this is for you. By the time this speech is over, you won't just know what to say, You'll know how to say it in a way that commands respect, because when you learn to speak with authority, you don't just communicate, you influence. Before you say a single word, people already have an impression of you. And it's not based on your clothes or your title, it's based on your presence. Have you ever walked into a room and felt eyes on you? Not because you were doing anything special, but because your energy spoke before your mouth even opened. That's the power of presence. The way you carry yourself, how you stand, how you make eye contact, these things matter. They speak louder than anything you can say. If you walk into a room hunched over, avoiding eye contact, your energy is telling people you don't belong there. But if you walk in tall, shoulders back, looking people in the eye, you instantly become a force. Think of anyone you've ever considered a leader. Did they enter a room like they were just another person, or did they walk in like they own the space? People don't need to hear you speak to know if you have authority. They can feel it in the way you carry yourself. This is where it all begins. If you want to command respect, start by owning your physical presence. Your body language is the first message people will receive from you, and it will speak for you long before you ever open your mouth. Presence isn't about arrogance, it's about control. The moment you step into a room, you're setting the tone for how others will treat you. Do you want to be treated like someone who matters? Then act like it. The way you carry yourself will determine how people respond to you. If you enter a room with a slumped posture, a hesitant voice, or a lack of confidence, you're giving others permission to ignore you. You're letting the room dictate your value. But if you walk in with confidence, shoulders back, head held high, you take control of that space, you show people you're not waiting for permission to be heard. You're here to lead. And when you act like a leader, people will follow. When you control your presence, you control the room. The energy you project is contagious. If you walk into a space like you belong there, like you have a purpose, you'll instantly command respect. But if you wait for others to make room for you, you'll always be waiting. Don't let the room decide how you show up. You decide. Your presence should demand attention. You should walk into any space and immediately claim it. You've heard it before, confidence is key, but confidence isn't just about what you say or even how you say it. It's about the energy you bring with you. Think back to the most magnetic people you've ever met. What was it about them that drew you in? Was it the way they spoke? Maybe. But more than likely, it was the energy they exuded. The moment they walked into the room, you could feel it. Confidence is an energy. It's the silent force that demands attention without uttering a word. When someone has true confidence, it's not just in their posture or the tone of their voice, it's in the space they occupy. Your energy is the silent language of leadership. It communicates authority, strength, and belief in yourself. The moment you step into any situation, you're already sending out signals, and the people around you are responding to those signals, whether you realize it or not. When you project confidence, you don't just appear more powerful, you become more powerful. Your energy shifts the dynamics in the room. People don't just listen to what you say, they respond to how you make them feel. So if you want to take command, start with your energy, because energy speaks louder than any words ever could. Mastering your presence isn't something that happens overnight, but there are simple, powerful steps you can take right now to instantly boost your authority in any space. First, posture. Stand tall. This might sound simple, but it's one of the most effective ways to project power. When you stand straight, shoulders back and chest open, you automatically appear more confident and in control. Slouching does the opposite. It sends a message that you're small and unsure. Second, eye contact. Make it and hold it. People are drawn to those who can look them in the eye with certainty. Weak eye contact signals insecurity and lack of trust. Strong eye contact says, I belong here. I have something valuable to say. Next, silence. The next time you're in a meeting, try speaking less. You'd be amazed at how much power silence can give you. When you speak less, people lean in. They're waiting for you to say something important. The more you talk, the less weight your words carry. The less you talk, the more impact each word has. Finally, use intentional movements. Every gesture, every step you take should exude control. When you move deliberately, you appear calm, confident, and in charge. Don't fidget, don't rush, make every action purposeful. Start implementing these simple tips and you'll notice a huge difference in how people respond to you. Presence isn't just about what you do, it's about how you do it. Anyone can talk, but not everyone can make people listen. The truth is, most speakers fall into the category of forgettable because they don't understand what makes their words stick. It's not about speaking louder or more frequently, it's about speaking with intention. Think about the difference between a speaker who just fills the room with noise and one who commands attention with every sentence. The first type is forgettable. Their words are just words, lost in a sea of other voices. But the second type? They're unforgettable. Every word they speak feels purposeful, powerful, and necessary. They know how to craft their message in a way that leaves an impression long after they've stopped talking. So, what's the difference? It's not volume, it's clarity, it's rhythm. It's the ability to say exactly what needs to be said and no more. It's knowing how to deliver a message that hits the target every time. To speak with impact, you need to stop trying to impress people with how much you can say. Instead, impress them with how much you can make them feel. Your words should carry weight. Your message should feel like it matters. If you can do that, you will be unforgettable. The human brain craves patterns. It's why lists, rhythms, and repetition are so effective in communication. When you structure your speech around the rule of 3, you're tapping into a psychological principle that makes your message more digestible, memorable, and powerful. Think about the greatest speeches in history. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream," Winston Churchill's "We Shall Fight on the Beaches," even a simple "Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness." Notice something? They all use the rule of 3. Why is this so effective? Because 3 is a perfect number. It's enough to create a pattern, but not so many that it becomes overwhelming. When you break down your message into 3 key points, you're giving your audience something to latch onto. They can remember it, they can repeat it, and it sticks in their minds. The rule of 3 is a tool that all great communicators use. It's simple, but it works. The next time you speak, organize your message into 3 distinct, memorable points. This structure will make your speech more impactful, easier to understand, and far more effective in leaving a lasting impression. Silence isn't awkward, it's powerful. Great communicators don't just fill the air with words, they know when to pause, when to let the silence do the work for them. The pause is the secret weapon of every great speaker. It's what gives weight to your words. It's what builds suspense, draws people in, and makes them hang on to every syllable. When you pause at just the right moment, you create space for the audience to absorb and reflect on what you've said. Think about how powerful it is when a speaker stops talking just before delivering the most important point. The silence forces the audience to lean in, to pay attention. They know something important is coming and they don't want to miss it. The key is knowing when and how long to pause. A pause that's too long can make things feel awkward, but a well-timed pause, just a moment of stillness, allows your words to sink in. It builds anticipation. It lets your message resonate. Next time you speak, try incorporating pauses into your delivery. Don't rush from one point to the next. Allow the silence to enhance your message. It's a tool that will immediately raise the impact of your words. Weak speakers ramble, strong speakers refine. If you want to make a real impact with your words, you need to cut out the clutter. Eliminate unnecessary words, phrases, and filler. Every sentence should carry meaning. Every word should serve a purpose. When you ramble, people tune out. When you speak with clarity and purpose, people pay attention. It's that simple. But this doesn't come naturally to everyone. We've all been in situations where we started speaking and ended up saying more than we needed to, just to fill the silence or make ourselves feel more comfortable. But here's the problem with that. Every extra word dilutes your message. It makes you sound less confident, less in control, and less serious. The more you say, the less your words matter. So here's a challenge for you. Take one of your sentences and ask yourself, does every word in this sentence have a purpose? If not, cut it. Make your sentences as lean as possible. Your words will become more powerful, more direct, and people will listen to every single one of them. When you eliminate verbal clutter, your communication becomes sharper, it demands attention, it leaves no room for doubt. Every word you say will matter. The way you speak has the power to shape how people perceive you. Your tone, pace, and emotion, these things dictate whether others see you as a leader or as someone who fades into the background. Let me ask you this. Have you ever heard someone speak and instantly knew whether they were confident, unsure, or lacking authority? What made that so obvious? It's not magic, it's the voice. If your voice lacks conviction, so will your message. People can hear it when you're uncertain. They can tell when you're holding back. And here's the problem. When your voice isn't commanding respect, neither will your words. Think about this. How do you feel when someone speaks with certainty? When they're clear, confident, and direct? You listen, don't you? You give them your attention. You respect their authority. But when someone speaks with hesitation or worse, a lack of emotion, they lose you, don't they? The way you use your voice plays a major role in how seriously people take you. If you want respect, if you want influence, if you want people to follow your lead, you need to own your voice. You need to use it as a weapon. Because when you speak with certainty, people stop what they're doing and they listen. Your tone is your secret weapon. It's one of the most powerful tools at your disposal, yet so many people fail to recognize its influence. Whether you're speaking to one person or an entire room, the tone of your voice sends an immediate signal to those around you. When you speak with a deep, steady tone, you command authority. You become someone people respect. Low tones convey confidence, control, and power. They make your words feel weighty, like they matter. But what about higher tones? They convey excitement and energy, but they can also make you seem unsure or overly emotional. High tones can convey enthusiasm, but they can also signal that you're not in control. The key is knowing how to use both types of tones depending on the situation. If you want people to follow you, to trust you, and to listen to you, you need to learn to control your tone. Speak with authority, but don't sound like you're yelling. Use your tone to match the message you want to send. Be clear, firm, and confident. When you control your tone, you control the room. The tone of your voice can be the difference between inspiring action and losing attention, so start using it as your weapon. How fast or slow you speak can completely change the dynamics of the conversation. If you speak too fast, you'll come across as nervous, rushed, or unprepared. If you speak too slow, you'll sound unsure, uncertain, or disengaged. The secret to commanding attention? Mastering the pace of your speech. The pace of your speech controls the flow of the conversation. When you speak too quickly, you overwhelm people. Your words lose their impact. But when you speak too slowly, you risk losing their attention. People want to feel the urgency in your message. They want to hear your conviction, and when you speak too slowly, it dilutes both. So what's the solution? The answer is mastering the rhythm of your speech. Slow down at key moments to create impact. Speed up when you need to create urgency or build excitement. It's about balance. It's about timing. Think about some of the most memorable speeches you've heard. Did the speaker race through their words, or did they pause, slow down at the most important points, and give their message room to breathe? The best speakers know how to vary their pace for maximum impact. Next time you speak, pay attention to your pace. Use it to emphasize key points, to create suspense, and to give your message the weight it deserves. When you master your pace, you master the conversation. Have you ever heard a speech that moved you to the core? A speech that made you feel something deep inside? What made it so powerful wasn't just the words, it was the emotion behind those words. Emotion is what connects people to your message. It's what makes your words stick. If you don't feel the emotion behind what you're saying, no one else will. If you want to move people, if you want them to act on what you say, you need to inject passion, conviction, and intensity into your voice. Think about it. When someone speaks to you with no emotion, it's easy to tune them out. They may have important things to say, but without emotion, their words fall flat. But when someone speaks with feeling, with heart, you can't help but listen. Emotion is what makes your voice unforgettable. It's what makes your message resonate. It's what separates great speakers from good ones. The next time you speak, don't just say the words, feel them. Let your voice carry the emotion behind your message. If you're passionate, let it show. If you're angry, let it show. If you're excited, let it show. People will remember the feeling long after they've forgotten the words. Emotion isn't just an addition to your voice, it's the power that drives it. Let me give you the brutal truth. You don't need perfect words. You need absolute certainty. You might have the perfect answer, the best ideas, and the most well thought out plan, but if you don't believe in what you're saying, no one else will. People follow conviction, not perfection. When you speak with conviction, your words have weight. You might stumble over your sentences, you might get a fact wrong, but people will still follow you because they can feel your certainty. They can feel that you believe in what you're saying. On the other hand, if you speak with hesitation, if you let doubt show in your voice, people will sense it immediately. It's not about having the perfect message, it's about having the confidence to stand by what you're saying, even when things aren't perfect. Let me tell you something. Hesitation is the enemy of influence. The moment you doubt yourself, you lose your audience. They stop listening. They stop following. If you want to lead, you have to speak with certainty. You have to speak like you believe what you're saying. Because when you do, others will believe it too. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's a muscle you build, a skill you train. Every time you hesitate, you weaken that muscle. Every time you speak with certainty, you strengthen it. Here's the thing about confidence. It's not about having all the answers. It's not about being perfect. It's about knowing that you have something valuable to say and saying it without hesitation. If you've ever felt unsure of yourself, you're not alone. Confidence doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It comes from practice, from pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, from taking risks and facing failure head on. Think about how many times you've been afraid to speak up, afraid to voice your opinion because you thought it wasn't good enough or that you weren't enough. But when you speak with certainty, when you commit to your words, you begin to build the confidence that others will respect. So start training your confidence. Speak up more. Don't wait for perfection, just speak with conviction. Every time you do, you strengthen that muscle. And before long, you'll be speaking with the kind of confidence that demands attention and respect. The most respected people don't question themselves before they speak. They assume what they say matters. That's the mindset you need to develop. Speak as if the world is hanging on your words. Speak as if what you say could change the course of everything. When you speak like this, you carry an energy with you that draws people in. When you walk into a room, do you assume that your words matter, or do you question whether anyone will listen? Most people do the latter. They doubt their value, they hold back, they shrink. But when you shift your mindset, when you speak as if your words could change the world, you carry yourself differently. You speak with authority, you speak with conviction, you assume that people will listen. And because you do, they will. If you're constantly worried about being wrong, about what people will think of you, your voice will reflect that. But if you assume that what you say matters, you'll start to speak with a level of confidence that makes people pay attention. It's a simple shift in thinking, but it changes everything. For the next 24 hours, I challenge you to eliminate hesitation from your speech. No maybes, no I think, no weak language. Just certainty. For one full day, speak as if you are absolutely sure of what you're saying. No more apologies, no more disclaimers. When you speak, speak with absolute conviction. You'll be amazed at how people respond to you. The moment you stop hesitating, the moment you speak with certainty, people start to listen. They start to trust you. This challenge isn't just about sounding confident, it's about actually building the habit of confidence. The more you speak with conviction, the easier it gets. The more you believe in your words, the more others will believe in them too. So take the challenge. Speak with absolute certainty for 24 hours and watch how the world starts to respond differently to you. You've heard the saying, words matter. Well, guess what? The words you choose can either build you up or tear you down. I think, maybe, just, sorry. These are weak words. They make you sound unsure even when you're right. You might not realize it, but when you use these words, you're undermining your authority. You're signaling that you're not confident in your ideas, even if they're great. Think about the last time you spoke with hesitation. What words did you use? Did you say, I think we should? Or maybe this will work? You weren't speaking with authority. You were speaking with doubt. Now imagine how you'd sound if you said, we should, or this will work. Do you hear the difference? One signals certainty, the other signals insecurity. If you want to be taken seriously, you need to eliminate weak language from your speech. No more second guessing, no more softening your words. Speak with confidence and people will follow. Leaders don't say, I think we should, or maybe this will work. They say, we should, and this will work. These small but powerful word choices separate those who get taken seriously from those who don't. Let me tell you something. When you hesitate with weak phrases, you lose control of the conversation. You sound like someone who isn't sure, who is asking for permission to lead. But when you speak decisively, you instantly gain authority. Think about it. When a leader speaks, they don't sound uncertain. They don't ask for approval. They make clear, confident statements that leave no room for doubt. People respect leaders because they don't question themselves. They stand behind their decisions. They own their words, and they never apologize for it. To speak like a leader, you need to replace weak language with definitive statements. Don't hedge your words. Don't soften them. Be direct. Be assertive. You might be surprised how much of a difference it makes in how people respond to you. Leadership doesn't require perfection, it requires confidence. When you speak with clarity and authority, people will follow. So stop saying, I think. Start saying, we will. It's that simple. The words you use can make all the difference in how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. Over-apologizing weakens your presence. You've probably heard it before. Sorry for interrupting, sorry for being late, or sorry for taking up your time. These words may seem polite, but if you use them too often, you're giving away your power. Let me make this clear. I'm sorry should be reserved for moments when you've actually done something wrong. If you haven't wronged anyone, you have no reason to apologize. Yet so many people apologize for simply existing. They apologize for their opinions, for taking up space, for being themselves. Here's the problem. When you apologize for things that don't need an apology, you diminish your authority. You signal that you don't believe you deserve to be heard, that your presence isn't as valuable as anyone else's. Instead of apologizing, try owning the moment. If you're late, acknowledge it without making it a self-deprecating apology. If you interrupt, simply state your point confidently and move forward. Stop shrinking. Apologizing doesn't make you humble, it makes you invisible. Replace unnecessary apologies with confident, positive language. Say, I have something valuable to share, or I'm excited to contribute. When you stop apologizing for existing, you take up space, you command respect, and you start to show the world that your voice matters. For the next 24 hours, I challenge you to eliminate weak language from your speech. No more, I think, maybe, or I'm sorry. Every word you speak should be filled with power, certainty, and authority. This challenge isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. The goal is to catch yourself every time you use weak language and replace it with something strong, direct, and confident. Think about how often you apologize or hedge your words throughout the day. Now think about how that weakens your authority. Every time you say, I think, you're inviting doubt. Every time you apologize for existing, you're telling others you don't deserve to take up space. The next 24 hours will be a test. As you speak, pay attention to the words you use. Replace hesitation with conviction. Replace softness with power. You'll be amazed at how differently people respond when you speak with certainty. This exercise is more than just changing your words, it's about changing your mindset. When you speak with strength, you build your confidence. You stop doubting yourself, and most importantly, people start respecting you in a way they didn't before. So take the challenge. Speak with strength for 24 hours. See how your voice and the way people respond to it changes. Everything you've learned today boils down to one simple truth. Your voice is. When you speak with conviction, when you own your words, you own your life. You become someone who commands respect. You become someone who leads. Every time you speak, do it with purpose. Do it with power. Own your voice and watch as the world starts to respond differently. Starting today, there are no more weak words, no more hesitation, no more shrinking back. Your voice is a tool. Use it. Speak with power. Speak with purpose. And watch as the world respects you in return. This is your moment. No more excuses. Own your voice. Own your life and make the world listen.